The colossal Imperial scout ship Destiny's Hand emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, its sleek purple-black hull shimmering faintly in the starlight. On the bridge, Captain Zlar stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, intently observing the holographic projection of the solar system. His species, masters of countless worlds, saw Earth as nothing more than another addition to their expanding empire. The third planet from the sun shows signs of civilization, his science officer reported, tentacles moving deftly over the control panel. Class 3 development level. No FTL capabilities detected. Primitive satellite technology. Zlar's mouth tentacles curled into what his kind considered a smile. The process was always the same: arrive, display overwhelming power, and witness the inevitable surrender. His ship alone could annihilate every major city on Earth within hours, not that such measures were typically necessary. Most civilizations capitulated at the mere sight of Imperial technology. "Take us closer," Zlar ordered. Standard approach vector. The massive vessel advanced, its sophisticated sensors sweeping the area around Earth. The crew noted an unusual number of artificial objects orbiting the planet but dismissed them as primitive satellites and debris, a common feature of developing worlds. That assumption lasted precisely 8 minutes. The first piece of debris struck their shields at 177,000 mph, followed quickly by another and another. Within moments, the ship's defenses were overwhelmed by a barrage of objects from tiny screws to massive derelict satellites, all moving at orbital velocities. Shields at 82% and dropping, the defense officer shouted. "The debris field is too dense." "This is impossible," Zlar hissed. "Their technology is primitive. They couldn't have designed this." But as the crew analyzed the chaotic bombardment, they uncovered a startling truth: the humans hadn't designed it as a weapon. It was their trashed decades of discarded materials from space exploration. Yet its arrangement, density, and meticulously maintained orbits made it a perfect defensive barrier. Tactical analysis, Zlar demanded. "The debris isn't random," the tactical officer reported, highlighting patterns and layers on the display. "The humans are tracking every piece larger than a few centimeters. They've transformed their orbital waste into a monitored defense grid." A massive rocket stage collided with the ship's shields, sending tremors through the vessel. The energy readings from the impacts were far greater than anticipated. Analysis, Zlar barked again. "Some debris has been reinforced or modified," the officer replied. "They're not just tracking it, they're maintaining and using it." More impacts rattled the ship, their shields designed for energy weapons and missiles unable to cope with the sheer quantity and speed of debris. Even small objects at orbital velocities carried devastating kinetic energy. "Full reverse," Zlar commanded. "Get us out of this debris field." The ship retreated to a safer distance, its crew silently watching as their sensors mapped the extensive layers of Earth's orbital shell. What appeared to be mere garbage had evolved into a deadly gauntlet, making any approach to Earth perilous without intimate knowledge of its shifting patterns. "This wasn't an accident," the science officer said quietly. "The humans have weaponized their own debris." Zlar stared at the distant blue-green planet, his earlier dismissal of Earth's capabilities giving way to unease. If humans could turn their trash into a strategic defense, what other innovations lay hidden? "Send a report to Imperial Command," he ordered. "This mission will require reassessment." In an underground facility beneath Geneva, the United Earth Defense Council convened. 30 representatives from various nations gathered around a circular table, illuminated by holographic displays of the alien vessel retreating from Earth's orbit. "They'll return," General Sarah Chen said calmly. "This was only their first attempt. We must respond." "The question is how," President Rodriguez of the Americas Alliance replied. "We've intercepted their communications. They understand our languages. But what message do we send?" The room grew silent until Dr. James Osaki, head of xenological studies, stood. His weathered face reflected exhaustion, but his eyes glimmered with determination. "We send a single, unmistakable warning, one that will make them think twice." The council worked for an hour, crafting a brief yet powerful message. It had to be clear, concise, and carry a weight that would resonate even with an advanced empire. When finished, all 30 members unanimously approved it. High above Earth, the Destiny's hand continued analyzing the debris field when its communication systems activated. Captain Zlar watched as a message appeared on all frequencies, translated perfectly into every major language of the Empire. Our debris field is not an accident. It is our first line of defense. Every piece of technology we create serves dual purposes. Even our waste can be weaponized. This is your only warning. The message repeated 3 times and then ceased. No diplomatic overtures, no gestures of peace, just those words delivered with chilling certainty. In the analysis chamber, the Imperial diplomats laughed, dismissing the humans as primitive. But Zlar's unease deepened. Chief Diplomat Versal sneered, his iridescent scales shifting in amusement. They think they can intimidate us with trash and bold claims. In contrast, the mood in the ship's military section was far more serious. Colonel MTAR, the senior tactical officer, had been analyzing Earth's military capabilities. Sir, he addressed Captain Zlar, their warning aligns with observable behavior patterns. He gestured to the display, which highlighted human cities with overlays marking dual-purpose infrastructure, bridges designed for rapid demolition, buildings that convert into bunkers, civilian vehicles easily weaponized, transportation networks capable of isolating entire regions. Their entire society, MTAR explained, is structured like a latent weapon. They don't just adapt to threats, they anticipate them. That debris field isn't just a defense mechanism, he added. It's a statement. Captain Zlar studied the data, unease creeping into his thoughts. The humans hadn't pleaded for peace or shown fear. Instead, they had delivered a single, calculated warning backed by evidence. His 4 hands clenched and unclenched as he issued new orders. Transmit all collected data to Imperial Command and request immediate analysis reinforcements. We need a comprehensive understanding of this threat. As the message was sent, Earth's satellites continued their silent vigil, tracking the alien vessel's every movement. Behind them, the orbital debris field subtly shifted its configuration, like a living entity responding to unseen stimuli. Humanity's first line of defense, forged from the remnants of their spacefaring ambitions, stood ready. Meanwhile, the Empire's stealth probe, Silent Shadow, entered Earth's upper atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to conventional detection. In the Imperial War College, thousands of light-years away, analysts monitored the data stream from the probe. Primitive nuclear weapons, muttered Chief Analyst Krawvox, his tentacles flicking across the holographic displays. Exactly what he stopped mid-sentence, his 3 eyes widening. What is it? Asked an assistant. These readings. They can't be correct, Krawvox said, running the scan again. Their weapons defy standard developmental progression. This isn't normal. The room fell silent as new data streamed in. Humans had developed nuclear weapons, but they had also created unconventional technologies, biological agents capable of altering weather patterns, electromagnetic pulses to disable electronics, and sonic devices weaponizing sound itself. Professor Yistel, a leading expert on warfare evolution, entered the chamber, her typically pale complexion now ashen. "Show me their history," she commanded. The main screen displayed a timeline of human development, from primitive tools to advanced machinery, evolving in what seemed like an instant. "Stop there," Yistel said, pointing to an ancient farming implement. "What do you see?" "A curved blade on a handle," Krawvox answered. "A tool for harvesting crops." "Now watch," Yistel said. The display shifted, illustrating how the same design transformed into a weapon, then industrial tools, and eventually components of spacecraft. One simple idea, endlessly reimagined. "This is their strength," Yistel explained. "Most species advance linearly. Humans spiral. They take every concept and explore its full potential, asking endlessly, what else can this do?" The Silent Shadow scans unveiled more troubling discoveries: civilian infrastructure doubling as military assets, communications networks capable of switching to wartime protocols instantly, and even entertainment systems reconfigurable for emergency broadcasts. Sir, a junior analyst interrupted. You need to see this. The display shifted to Earth's educational systems. Analysts had anticipated structured, rigid methods akin to the Empire's. Instead, they found open-ended learning environments encouraging innovation and critical thinking. They teach their young to question everything Yistel observed, to see possibilities where others see limitations. Craw Vox studied another disturbing detail: human children's toys used to simulate military strategies. How do we predict an enemy that thinks like this, he muttered. We don't, Yistel replied. That's their advantage. She pulled up an image of a human space station. A standard design, she asked. Yes, Craw Vox replied. Now watch. In a simulation, the station didn't just disintegrate under attack, it fragmented into precise pieces, each repurposed into a weapon capable of damaging enemy vessels. They've engineered even destruction to serve their defense, Craw Vox whispered. Every creation of theirs is dual purpose. As the silent shadow transmitted its final data burst, it quietly exited Earth's atmosphere. At the War College, analysts prepared their report for the Imperial Council. How could they describe a species whose development defied all known patterns? How could they convey that their unpredictability was their greatest weapon? Professor Yistel summarized it succinctly in her opening statement. They do not follow paths, they forge new ones. And every path they forge becomes a weapon. Meanwhile, in a concealed Imperial facility, top infiltration agents underwent final preparations. After 6 months of genetic modifications and cultural training, they were indistinguishable from humans. Agent Rix, their leader, adjusted his artificial skin. Commander Vekar delivered the final briefing. Remember, he said, you have been engineered to be flawless humans. Chief Diplomat Versol sneered, his scales rippling with amusement. They think they can intimidate us with garbage and bold declarations. However, in the military section of the ship, the mood was starkly different. Colonel MTAR, the tactical officer, had been scrutinizing Earth's military infrastructure. Sir, he said to Captain Zlar, their warning aligns with observable patterns. He highlighted the display, which revealed human cities overlaid with tactical markers. Bridges designed for rapid destruction. Structures capable of converting into fortified bunkers. Civilian vehicles easily modified into combat units. Transportation networks engineered to isolate entire regions if necessary. Their society, MTAR explained, is a latent weapon. They don't just adapt, they anticipate. That debris field isn't just a defense, he added grimly. It's a calculated demonstration. Captain Zlar studied the data, a sense of doubt creeping into his thoughts. The humans had shown neither fear nor desperation, only a precise warning reinforced by evidence. His 4 hands tightened and relaxed repeatedly as he issued orders. Transmit all findings to Imperial Command and request immediate reinforcements for further analysis. We need every detail. As the message was dispatched, Earth's satellites remained locked on the alien vessel, tracking its movements. Behind them, the orbital debris field shifted imperceptibly, as if alive. Earth's improvised first line of defense, built from the remnants of its ventures into space, stood ready. Meanwhile, the Empire's stealth probe, Silent Shadow, slipped into Earth's atmosphere, cloaked against conventional detection. Thousands of light years away, in the Imperial War College, analysts pored over the live feed. Primitive nuclear weapons, muttered Chief Analyst Craw Vox, tentacles darting across the holographic interface. Just as he froze mid-sentence, his 3 eyes widening in disbelief. What's wrong? An assistant asked. These readings. They don't make sense, Craw Vox replied, reanalyzing the data. Their weapon development doesn't follow any known progression. The room fell silent as more information streamed in. Humans had nuclear weapons, yes, but they also possessed technologies that defied expectations: biological agents capable of weather manipulation, electromagnetic pulses to disable electronics, and sonic devices weaponizing sound. Professor Yistel, a warfare evolution expert, entered the chamber, her usually pale complexion gray with tension. "Show me their history," she demanded. The main display lit up with a timeline of human innovation, from crude tools to advanced machinery in what seemed like an instant. "Stop here," Ystel instructed, pointing at an ancient farming tool. "What do you see?" "A curved blade attached to a handle," Vox responded. "For harvesting crops." Now watch the timeline advanced, showing the tool's evolution into weapons, industrial equipment, and eventually spacecraft components. One simple concept, endlessly reimagined. "This is their strength," Ystel explained. "Other species develop linearly. Humans spiral, exploring every possible use for an idea and constantly asking, what else can this do?" The silent shadow uncovered even more alarming details: civilian networks doubling as military assets, entertainment systems capable of emergency broadcasting, and hidden bunkers beneath urban centers. "Sir," a junior analyst interrupted, "you need to see this." The display shifted to human education systems. Instead of rigid, structured learning, the analyst saw programs encouraging innovation and critical thinking. "They teach their young to question everything," Ystel said, "to find opportunities where others see limitations." Vox noted another disconcerting discovery: children's toys being repurposed to simulate military strategies. "How do you counter an enemy that thinks like this?" he asked. "You don't," Ystel replied. "That's their strength." She pointed to an image of a human space station. "Standard design?" she asked. "Yes," Vox confirmed. Now watch the simulation depicted the station breaking apart, not randomly, but into carefully calculated fragments. Each piece became a weapon targeting enemy vessels. "They've weaponized even failure," Vox whispered. "Everything they build serves dual purposes." As the silent shadow sent its final transmission, it retreated silently from Earth's atmosphere. In the War College, analysts prepared their report for the Imperial Council. How could they explain a species whose progress defied patterns and whose greatest strength was unpredictability? Professor Ystel summarized it concisely: "They do not follow paths. They forge them. And every path they forge becomes a weapon." Meanwhile, in a hidden Imperial facility, infiltration agents completed their final preparations. After 6 months of genetic modification and cultural immersion, they were indistinguishable from humans. Agent Rix adjusted his synthetic skin as Commander Vekar delivered the final briefing. "Remember," Vekar said, "you are designed to be perfect humans." 12 hours later, their success rate was 0. In New York City, Agent Rix approached a hot dog vendor. He had memorized human food culture in detail, but nothing prepared him for the vendor's question. "Yo, how you want that, boss?" "Everything on it." Rix froze. His training hadn't covered this. What was everything? How could one food item have infinite possibilities? He stood there, calculating, until the vendor frowned. "You okay, buddy? You look like you're about to short-circuit." Nearby teenagers began filming, laughing at his robotic demeanor. In Tokyo, Agent Mira failed even faster. Bumped in a crowded train station, her reaction was unnaturally precise. A child pointed, shouting, "Mama." She moves like a robot. Social media erupted with videos, and the alien check challenge went viral. In Mumbai, Agent Keck stumbled while bargaining in a market. His logical responses drew laughter. "Who taught you to haggle?" "A computer," the vendor joked. "Feel the price, don't calculate it." At the observation post, Commander Vekar watched in dismay. "We made them perfect humans," he exclaimed. "That's the problem," Dr. Ystel said. "Humans aren't perfect. Their imperfection is their strength." Footage of human entertainment confirmed her point. "They've trained themselves to detect perfection," Ystel explained. "They distrust it. Their social fabric thrives on unpredictability and emotion." In London, the final failure came when Agent Z attempted to discuss sports in a pub. He knew every statistic but was stumped when asked, "What does your gut say about tonight's game?" Humans valued emotional intuition over perfect knowledge. Back at Imperial Command, the report was grim. Humanity had turned a threat into entertainment, flooding social media with memes mocking the agents. They've made us a joke, Vekar muttered. How do we infiltrate a species that thrives on chaos, he asked. We don't, Ystal replied. Their disorder is their strength, and we cannot comprehend it. On Earth, memes continued spreading, proving once again that humanity's greatest defense was their unpredictability. They didn't just detect infiltrators, they made them viral. High Admiral Vexer, standing aboard the Star Crusher, chose a more familiar approach. Target their largest station he commanded. Let's remind them of Imperial power. The massive beam struck Earth's largest space station, shattering it into fragments. The Admiral smirked until the debris cloud began moving purposefully. It's a trap, whispered the tactical officer as precision-designed fragments attacked the fleet. The station, it seemed, had been built to fail spectacularly. In Imperial command, the Supreme Commander studied the footage grimly. Show me the station's blueprints, he ordered. The analysis revealed an unsettling truth. Every panel, strut, and component of the destroyed station had been meticulously engineered with dual purposes. In its intact form, it served perfectly as a space station. But upon destruction, it transformed into a pre-planned defensive weapon. Back at the battle, the Star Crusher's shields were failing under the relentless assault of weaponized debris. Each fragment struck with precision, its trajectory calculated years earlier by Earth's top mathematicians. Sir, the communication officer called. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. The screen lit up with a simple message. Every structure we build carries within it the seeds of your defeat. This station was but one of many. Would you like to test another? Admiral Vexer watched in dismay as his fleet faltered, driven back by the remnants of a station they had destroyed. The humans hadn't just anticipated an attack, they had planned to weaponize their own loss. They hadn't merely accepted the possibility of defeat, they had turned it into a weapon. Full retreat, Vexer ordered, his voice heavy with resignation. And send a report to command. The humans don't just plan for victory, they plan for defeat, and their defeats are more dangerous than their victories. As the Imperial fleet limped away, Earth's debris field adjusted, its layers settling into new orbits, further strengthening the planet's defenses. The humans had lost a station but gained another barrier, proving yet again that in their hands, even failure became a pathway to success. In the Imperial High Council's Grand Chamber, 12 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy convened, the crystalline walls reflecting the tension in the air. Holographic displays showed Earth's entertainment media, gathered for analysis. Supreme Analyst Zix, looking exhausted from weeks of research, stepped forward to address the Council. Honorable Council, what I am about to show you will challenge everything we think we know about humans. He gestured to the first display, which showed Earth's alien invasion movies, hundreds of them, depicting countless ways humans imagined defeating superior forces. At first, we thought these were mere stories, Zix explained, but then we found this. The screen shifted to classified military documents, revealing strategies that mirrored scenes from these films. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. They've been practicing, Zix continued. Every story, every game, every piece of entertainment, they're all preparation. Humans have been imagining how to defeat us for over a century. Grand Counselor Vectra leaned forward. Surely they haven't prepared for every scenario. Zix brought up new footage, Earth sports. Look at this. Chess teaches them strategy. Boxing shows how smaller opponents can overcome larger ones. Even their children's games involve tactics and adaptation. The display shifted to human military training. Unlike the Empire's regimented drills, human soldiers trained amidst chaos, learning to thrive in confusion. This is especially troubling, Zix said, showing footage of emergency responders diving into disasters, fires, floods, and catastrophes, adapting plans on the fly. As in their education system, Zix continued. The display revealed classrooms where students weren't just taught facts but encouraged to question, innovate, and challenge conventional thinking. They don't teach their young what to think, Zix explained. They teach them how to think. General Kor stood abruptly. We've conquered thousands of worlds. We have superior technology and greater numbers. That's exactly what they expect, Zix interrupted, breaking protocol in his urgency. He displayed human historical battles where smaller forces triumphed over larger ones, guerrilla warfare, asymmetric strategies, victories against overwhelming odds. Humans don't play to our strengths, Zix explained. They force us to play to their chaos. Every advantage we possess, they've already imagined how to counter it. The final display showed a simple playground where children played, inventing new games, altering rules on the fly, and adapting to unexpected changes. This is where it starts, Zix said softly. From their earliest days, they embrace chaos. They adapt to change instinctively. We create perfect strategies, they create perfect strategy breakers. We build order, they thrive in disorder. Supreme Counselor Yika, silent until now, finally spoke. Your recommendation. Zix straightened. Earth must be classified as a Class 5 civilization not for their technological advancement, but for their potential threat level. Their culture itself is a weapon not by design, but by nature. The council erupted in whispers as the display continued, showing human children playing, soldiers training, and athletes competing. It became clear their adaptability was ingrained in every aspect of their society. The Empire realized that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or military, it was their relentless capacity to adapt, innovate, and turn any situation to their advantage. Aboard the Imperial flagship Emperor's Will, the final command council gathered to make their historic decision. Holographic images of Earth rotated before them, seemingly peaceful, but now understood to be anything but. Supreme Commander Vex Thor, weary from sleepless nights spent studying humanity, addressed the officers. 3 months ago, we believed Earth would be a routine conquest. Today, we make an unprecedented decision. He paused, his eyes sweeping the room. For the first time in Imperial history, we will voluntarily classify a pre-FTL civilization as Class 5. The room erupted in murmurs. Class 5 designations were reserved for galaxy-level threats. Earth, with its fragmented governance and fledgling technology, seemed unworthy of the title. Let me explain, Vex Thor continued. The displays shifted to footage of Earth's defenses, the debris field that decimated Imperial ships, the infiltrators turned into a viral joke, and the space station that weaponized its own destruction. But this is what makes them truly dangerous, Vex Thor said, gesturing to new data. Look at their response to our presence. The footage showed humans carrying on with their daily lives while subtly reinforcing their society. Cities upgraded infrastructure with hidden defenses. Children's games now included spotting unnatural behavior. Satellites were designed to double as weapons if needed. They aren't just adapting to us, explained Chief Analyst Rickall. They're adapting their entire civilization, almost unconsciously, to turn everything into a dual-purpose tool. Vex Thor nodded grimly. We've seen species prepare for war, but humans prepare for everything. They don't just fight, they adapt. The final display showed a playground where children played, altering games on the fly and turning losing scenarios into new opportunities. This is why we're leaving, Vex Thor declared. Not because we couldn't conquer them, but because the cost would be too high. They would never stop adapting, never stop resisting. He pressed a button, broadcasting a message across all galactic frequencies. By order of the Imperial Council, Earth is hereby classified as a Class 5 civilization. This classification is based not on technological advancement, but on threat assessment. Earth does not follow predictable patterns. What appears to be chaos is layers of complexity we cannot comprehend. Let them be. As the Imperial fleet withdrew, Earth's inhabitants continued their daily routines, unaware that their creativity, adaptability, and embrace of chaos had protected them from conquest. Years later, when Earth finally joined the galactic community, their reputation had already spread. They weren't known for military might or advanced technology, but as the species the mighty Empire had deemed too unpredictable to conquer. In the Empire's archives, a new principle became required: reading for military officers before you consider conquest. Remember Earth. Sometimes the most dangerous civilizations are not those with advanced weapons, but those who can turn even chaos into a weapon. Earth had won its first galactic victory not through force, but by being uniquely, irrepressibly human.